According to recent data by Redfin, Airbnb and second home sales are in serious trouble. Hey everybody, breaking data out of Redfin shows some serious signs of weakening in a particular market segment near you. Not just markets like Florida that has heavy involvement in this particular market segment, but this is actually going to affect areas like New York, Tennessee, California, Arizona, Nevada. There's a lot of different markets that are affected by the second home Airbnb short-term rental market, and there's some serious changes that took place a year ago that you may not be aware of that's already creating dramatic shifts in these markets. Now, at the risk of sounding hyperbolic, I know a lot of folks will come onto YouTube and create videos where it's a headline only, clickbait title, and there's nothing behind it, but I'm actually gonna walk you through some specific markets behind the data to show you where this is already having dramatic effects, where marketplaces near you will see 5, 6, 10%, possibly more in terms of year-over-year price changes this year alone. Today we're gonna go over that report in detail. I'm gonna walk you through who it will impact most, and I'm also gonna share with what you can expect in the next year if you live in or around second home or Airbnb communities, or if you're planning to buy in this particular marketplace. Going to give you everything that you need to know to plan for that. But the findings in this report are bound to have ripple effects all across the US. And at the same time, I want this update to have ripple effects all across YouTube. But do me a favor, hit that like button really fast. And here's the story. Redfin reports that demand for vacation homes is down more than 50% from pre-pandemic levels. The number of people locking in mortgages for second homes dropped to its lowest level since 2016. Now listen to this. Last line of the same paragraph. This is compared to a 13% decline for primary homes. As you hear this story, folks, you might be tempted at first glance to dismiss this as just the general market slowing down. But no, folks, the real story here is that this particular segment of the market is much slower and is shifting much differently than the rest of the market. You'll know if you follow this channel that I've been pointing out how there's crazy volume of price growth in terms of short-term rentals, vacation home markets, particularly in my part of the country. We've got oceanfront markets such as Anna Maria Island that literally more than doubled in price since the start of the pandemic. In my marketplace, which is one of the top short-term rental Airbnb markets in the entire country, which is Kissimmee, Davenport, the area around Disney World and the theme parks, which constantly attracts millions of tourists every year and has a thriving short-term rental market, we saw some of our markets, such as Davenport, Florida, increase by 80 to 90% in just 2.5 years. Folks, when you're seeing this kind of appreciation in such a short period of time, you do not need a master's degree in economics to understand that there's trouble ahead. Now let's take this a step further. You have the involvement in the loan industry to absolutely grind this marketplace to a screeching halt. You may not have known, but last year in the early part of 2022, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, these are two of the largest government-sponsored entities that are involved in the mortgage market. They have the ability to have massive impact on housing markets by what's called loan level price adjustments. Now, what this means is Fannie and Freddie can analyze the market and say, hey, you know what? There's a very high chance of massive defaults in second home short-term rental markets, and these particular markets just went up like crazy. I like to think of loan level price adjustments as like a tax on a loan. So you have the base loan, what the lender needs to make for profit, and then based on different criteria such as how much money you're putting down, how big of a risk factor your credit score makes you out to be, or the type of home purchase such as second home, short-term rental, then Fannie and Freddie then say you need to charge 2, 3, 4% plus more for this type of loan. And again, folks, as much as your local realtor might not want to admit it, we are in an interest rate dependent marketplace. When they go really, really high, the marketplace steps back, freaks out, inventory piles up, price reductions go higher, and then as a result, sale price goes down. We saw this happen towards the end of 2022. When units sold hit the floor, sellers then freaked out, reduced prices all over the nation, and you saw price loss from summer to end of the year in 2022. That was pretty incredible. In the Orlando metro area, if you look at an area called the Golden Triangle, which is just below Disney, it's a very large section, well known for having the ability from a legal capacity, municipal standpoint, the city allows you to do short-term rentals. That marketplace has absolutely dropped over 30% in sales in the past year. But I'll admit, folks, what's happened in the past year in all of these markets around the country that cater to second home purchase and vacation homes is very interesting, and it's kind of gone under the radar until now. And let me show you some examples in specific market data around the country to prove this out. Let's start over here at Myrtle Beach, a very popular short-term rental and second home destination. Now a closer look, what we're gonna look at first is inventory year over year. This is important because what happens is if we see these types of trends where we are hearing that applicants, people wanting to buy properties in second home short-term rental market, if they in turn do not purchase, then you should see inventory skyrocket. Now, anytime I look across the country at any real estate market, if I start to see markets going above 140 and 150% year over year, you start to really see pressure in the economy. That means that the buyers in that area have really stepped back. They're just not taking shots at the market. It stresses out sellers, and typically there's a bit of a standoff with the few buyers that are there. They really start to want to pick off the best values. Sellers then start to have an arm race to start reducing prices in order to get out when there are fewer buyers buying homes. But take a look at this, folks. This is North Myrtle Beach, okay? You have 203% year over year inventory growth in 29582. Then just off the coast, again, 267.9%, which is a very big number, 301% even bigger. As you cruise back, it gets a little bit more stable here in the middle of Myrtle Beach, but 135.8%. If we do not see that number coming down, you're going to start to see price reductions going higher. You can look here, Surfside Beach, 221%, and again, another marketplace. You had multiple marketplaces, multiple zip codes across the Myrtle Beach marketplace that are in very high year-over-year inventory numbers for that particular marketplace. Now, while I'm reviewing this, a credit due to Redfin Consulting. This is behind a paywall, and it's worth it. Nick's doing great work, and this is aggregated data that comes out of realtor.com. I can actually see data going back 6 years. So I'm not pitching him, and I actually will not get a fee of any kind if you actually go and start becoming a member there, but this is where the data is coming from. A lot of you will ask. Take a look at this. This is a graph that I love that we get from realtor.com. This is showing how much inventory is on the market in relation to the amount of inventory in the area. So if there's 100 houses in the marketplace, how many houses for every 100 is on the market? If there's 1,000 houses, how many houses are on the market? Most marketplaces where I'm seeing a lot of shifting, anything over 1.5, 1.6%, and I'd say you can call it 2% on up is starting to become a very high number in the market where you start to really see incredible changes in the marketplace, where you start to see price reductions arise and things of that nature. Look at this. North Myrtle Beach again, 4% of every home in 29582 is on the market. Further down, 29572, 5.1%. Here south of Briarcliff Acres, big numbers, folks. And again, Myrtle Beach itself has just risen over 2.1%. So again, that's not an incredible number, but those are some pretty interesting numbers that you're going to see happen. And again, back here, this is 3.4% in 2958568. The next graph I want to show you is Pigeon Forge. Now, many of you are probably aware, it might even be folks on this channel that own property in Pigeon Forge, as it's a very popular location in Tennessee and a lot of activity here. Check this out, folks. 3% of all the homes in this particular zip code are on the market right now. That represents a 6-year high. One more graph I want to show you. Now, as a result, what happens if there's a lot of inventory? Okay, well, 1 out of 5 properties in Pigeon Forge is actually experienced a price cut in order to sell. Now, I will tell you this, folks, 20% is not the highest number you will ever see, okay? But it is, if you look at this graph, according to realtor.com, Pigeon Forge has never had, in 7 years of history, 1 out of 5 of the listings in that marketplace needing a price reduction or to sell. It's always moved at a higher rate. So this is interesting data, folks, for the area around the Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge area in Tennessee. One last data, folks, here in my home market of Central Florida, here in the Orlando area. You can see here in the middle of the graph, Walt Disney World Resort right here. Right here on the edge of Highway 27, many of you, if you've ever visited this area, is a very high likelihood you actually have visited and stayed in a property off of Highway 27. 33897 is a very high volume supply channel for the short-term rental market around the Disney World properties, okay? So many of you probably, again, maybe even own something here. Take a look at this. 444% year-over-year increase in the supply of homes, folks. That is absolutely crazy. 444% year-over-year increase, folks. When this kind of thing happens, the month of supply, the available inventory that's stacking up is getting deeper and deeper. Price reductions will come. This is close to 26% of all homes here are facing price reductions. And again, I'll go over some more data about this particular area of our marketplace so you understand exactly how big the cycle is happening, because this area right here south of Disney is experiencing a much higher supply stack up than you are seeing in the rest of the state, and particularly through the rest of the Orlando metro marketplace. It's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out, folks. Do me a favor, drop a comment below, say hello, tell me the video was great or it stunk. If you live near a second home or vacation home area, tell us how your marketplace looks right now. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel for the latest in real estate news, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.